Leah Macer has had one of the most shocking transformations of all the teen moms.
Come on, baby, you put my love on top.
Several years ago, she was secretly battling an intense substance use problem, but over the course of a few seasons of Teen Mom 2, her struggles became too severe to hide behind closed doors. At the time, she denied having an issue, but eventually she couldn't hide her dangerous and scary habit anymore.
Leah.
Leah's substance use could have easily led to her tragic downfall, but now she's one of the most healthy and present moms from the entire franchise.
You won't forget, you only live once.
So how exactly did Leah manage to turn her life around? Most Teen Mom 2 viewers realized that something was off with Leah during season 5. She had just started a new medication that was causing her to have some really weird side effects. But the anxiety meds weren't the only prescription that Leah was taking at the time. She had recently welcomed her third daughter, Addie, to the world, but something happened right before Addie was born that completely turned Leah's world upside down. Leah later claimed that the medical procedure to help numb her body before the birth had gone incredibly wrong. The doctors who injected the medication into her back allegedly kept placing the needle in the wrong spots, which caused her an insane amount of pain. When Leah was released from the hospital, she could barely function due to spinal headaches and overwhelming back pain. The doctor had prescribed her 3 different kinds of heavy pain medications, which she started to rely on just to get by every day.
I'd take the medication because I could get up and go. I could take care of my kids. My back wasn't hurting.
At the time, Leah acknowledged that she wasn't feeling like herself anymore. However, her struggles were much deeper than viewers realized. And sadly, the only people who knew how serious her issues were didn't exactly support her in a healthy way.
Everyone that I was around didn't quite support me going away. Like, they didn't think it was good.
It was mainly Leah's own family who didn't think she should go away to a rehab facility. What's really unsettling is that she actually went to her mom Dawn and her stepdad Lee to ask them for help.
I told you guys, like, I've got like this medication. I feel like I'm becoming dependent.
But instead of helping Leah with her 3 young children so that she could go to rehab, Dawn had a totally different idea. In Leah's 2020 book, Hope, Grace, and Faith, she revealed the heartbreaking reason why she felt pressured into keeping her problem a secret. Dawn reportedly held onto Leah's meds and tried to wean her off of them slowly instead of getting her daughter professional help. She had told Leah that if the twins' dad, Corey, found out the truth, he would never let her see the girls again. But she wasn't healthy enough to properly parent her kids. It was devastating to watch that play out on TV. Leah was constantly nodding off while she was under the influence. In one scene, she was speaking to Allie's physical therapist on the phone about a power wheelchair, but she couldn't stay awake during the conversation, which quickly took an unsettling turn. Unfortunately, Leah's daughters were in her care while this was happening, but because of her substance use, she struggled with all of her responsibilities as a mom. She couldn't get her kids to school on time and rarely ever had groceries at home.
You're always worried about everything else except for going to pick up stuff and give my lunch.
Even though Leah's problems was the reason why she couldn't take care of her kids, her mom still thought it could be handled privately. We even saw Dawn lie about the conversation with Corey in an attempt to keep Leah from checking into rehab. In reality, Corey only had an issue with Dawn taking the girls to visit Leah's facility because he had no idea where they'd be going. Since Leah's marriage to Jeremy was on the rocks, he was rarely home because of his job. She desperately needed her family's support, but her biological dad, Gary, was also struggling with substance use and would actually use with Leah. Before long, her life had completely spiraled out of control. In her book, Leah explained that she had turned to buying illegal substances off the street. She even told her mom that the person she used to be had been trapped inside her for the last 4 years.
It's just like crying for help, like inside me.
Leah was literally begging for help, but Dawn still didn't think she should be open about her substance use. According to what else Leah wrote, her mom had knowingly subjected her kids to unsafe traumatic situations throughout their entire childhoods. Leah's substance use issues may have started out as a way to numb her physical pain, but the mental pain she'd been suffering from her whole life only made it harder to kick her habit. Leah also implied that Dawn had selfish reasons for keeping her out of rehab all along. Honestly, it sounds like Leah's mom was more concerned about her daughter being kicked out of Teen Mom 2 than anything. At the time, Leah had been using a big portion of her MTV paychecks to help her family out, which led to her her own major financial problems. It turns out that she only ended up going to rehab for a seriously alarming reason. Leah confessed that the lack of support and her severe dependency on substances eventually made her feel alone and lost. One night when she didn't have the girls, she actually almost ended her own life in a terrifying way. Leah was under the influence when she got behind the wheel of her car. She didn't realize that MTV's GoPro cameras were recording inside her vehicle. She drove down the road at a dangerously high speed and almost drove off the edge of a steep cliff. Thankfully, Leah came back to reality at the last second and managed to stop in time. But when she got back to her house, she received a life-changing phone call from someone truly unexpected. Believe it or not, Larry Musnick, an executive producer for Teen Mom, reached out to Leah. He had seen the startling footage from her vehicle and knew that she needed professional help. What he and some other higher-ups from MTV did next was unbelievable. The network got a hold of Leah's management team, and together they arranged for her to finally go to rehab. At the facility, Leah learned healthy coping skills and decided to take back control of her life. Now she credits their support to saving her life.
I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for MTV and my management.
However, rehab wasn't an instant fix for Leah's substance use. She later told People magazine that her recovery process started in the facility, but it took a while for her to apply what she learned. That's why she went through so many legal issues in season 7. Because of the shocking footage Corey had seen from the previous season, he hired a lawyer and filed for primary custody of the girls. Leah was still refusing to be open about her substance use, but that didn't matter. The court knew that Leah wasn't getting the girls to school on time, but she had also started skipping Allie's physical therapy appointments, which caused the judge to make an eye-opening decision.
You're going to be primary caretaker, primary legal custodian.
Leah no longer had primary custody, which changed her parenting time as well. She went from having the girls the majority of the time to mainly only seeing them on weekends. At the time, that was obviously what was best for the girls. Leah was still trying to kick her habit, and you could see how extremely unhealthy she was.
You going on Shy?
I just texted him, and that's why I was texting him.
Leah knew it would be incredibly challenging, but she kept working toward her goal of being substance-free. In her book, she revealed what ultimately led her to being successful in her sobriety journey. She claimed that the final step in her recovery process was setting major boundaries. She explained that it didn't matter if someone was a family member, a friend, or a co-worker. If they had been a factor in her substance use, she completely cut off contact with them. Leah added that she was determined to be a healthy mom for her daughters, which meant making healthy choices in her life. She realized that a lot of her issues stayed unresolved for so long because she wasn't being open and honest about them. That gave her the motivation to tell her story on the show and write about it in her book. Now Leah uses her platform on the show to raise awareness about substance use. She's suffered in silence for so many years, which is why she doesn't want anyone to feel like they have to deal with their problems alone or keep them a secret. Leah has definitely come a long way since the start of her substance use struggles. It honestly would have been easier for her not to strive for a healthier life for her and her girls, but even though it was a difficult process, Leah totally turned her life around for the better. In rehab, she learned the steps she needed to take in order to successfully recover, but it was also her determination and drive to be the best mom possible that helped her finally win her battle against substance use. But now that we've gotten into all the details surrounding Leah's impressive lifestyle change, I'm curious, what are your thoughts on what Leah wrote in her book about her mom? What do you think about her crazy transformation? Let me know in the comments below.